Hello and welcome in. Live chat for this week's Valero Texas Open. This time is yours. Talk about anything we want. Ownership, weather, DFS bets, one and done, the Masters. I don't care. I feel like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. You ever have that? It's not, I don't know. It's just like a little bit. I feel like a little agitated, feel a little annoyed. I don't know. I have no reason to be. I just feel that way, which doesn't happen very often for me. But maybe this is what I need. I need a little bit of live chat. So let's get into it. Carswell says, "Hey Rick, I was exploring playing Matt Wallace in DFS until I noticed what he finished here last year, DFL. How important is course history this week?" Let's look at Matt Wallace together, obviously coming off of the victory. And this is my website, RickRunGood.com, giant golf database for betting and fantasy. So coming off the win, finished T7 at the Valspar. Let's see what he did. Has he only played here once? If he played here once, I don't really care. Finished third the year prior, so I don't really care at all, right? So he's got the third place finish in 2021, the miscut in 2022 where he lost 6.5 strokes on approach. He has not lost that many strokes on approach since this event last year, and he was in the midst of some really ragged play at that time. It was the 6th of 6 cuts in a row. I think we can all agree he is playing much better golf right now. Not driving it as well as I would like, but he's gotten it back on track recently. And we don't have the strokes gain breakdown from Punta Cana, but we're all just going to assume that he drove it pretty well to go on and win that golf tournament. So to answer your question, Carswell, I don't care about this. And how important is it? Probably lower than average, I would say. Not completely unimportant, but I do not really care. And also, you could argue Matt Wallace has pretty good course history. A third and a miscut, I take that every single time. Hey, Rick, love your work. Thank you. I'm one of the few who did not burn Hatton last week. I'm assuming this means one and done. Yes, it does. Would you run him out this week as a front runner in a one and done or look elsewhere? Yeah, I'd use him. Listen, when you go to the power rankings, you look at the raw stuff, you exclude, Padre Harrington on the senior tour shreds that, but like Tyrrell Hatton's been the best player in this field. It's not particularly close. If you want to look at what he did last week, let's actually go round by round for last week. I've got the strokes gain metrics from last week. They're a little bit wonky at times, but let's see how he played. Well, gained strokes on approach all 3 days, drove it well 2 out of 3 days, did not putt particularly well. I'm not all that worried about that. Short game was stout. This is a lot better record than going 0-3. In fact, let's actually dive deeper into this because we can and we should. So he was here. So he lost about he's here. He lost about a half a stroke per round last week and lost every single match. He wasn't that much worse than Mackenzie Hughes, who made a run at this thing. He was way better than Billy Horschel, who got out of his group. He was way better than Putnam, who got out of his group. So I'm not particularly worried at all about Tyrrell Hatton. And if you're front running in a one and done, you should probably throw him out there. What is Michael Kim doing right now? That's really the $1 million question, isn't it? This says he missed 49 cuts. Yeah, that's right. In 2019, 2020, 2021, but has made 5 of his last 6. Yeah. So that stretch, even before that, Bruce, the Michael Kim career has been unbelievable. All the missed cuts, then the win, historic win, then all the missed cuts, but he's played much better. His Korn Ferry Tour year last year was actually really good. That's how he got back onto the PGA Tour. Look at all these great finishes, a lot of top 15s, a lot of top 10s on the Korn Ferry. And then his start to the season did not get off particularly well, and he started to turn it around since. T11 at Pebble Beach. He missed the cut at the Honda. That's fine. 5th in Puerto Rico, 45th at Valspar, and T26 at Punta Cana. Dare I even look up his Valero history, because I bet you it's all over the place. Yeah, T21 and 3 missed cuts, but hasn't played it since 2021, didn't play it in 2019, so I would probably throw that out the window. I think you have the right to be vaguely optimistic about Michael Kim. Hey Rick, what's your biggest high risk reward player you are going with, and do you see any surprises in the ownership? So this is the cheat sheet at RickRunGood.com. I should have done the weather first. Yeah, should have done the weather at the top of the show. All right, let me answer this. Then we'll do weather. And when we get weather questions, I'll say go back to like the 7-minute mark. We talked about it there. Okay, so highest risk, highest reward player is obviously Hideki. He is a fraction of the ownership at the top of the board, projecting about 7% right now compared to 21 for Ricky, 24 for Terrell, 17 for Corey Connors. So let's look at Hideki. Is this worth the risk? Is the reward worth the risk? Well, I think probably not. The fifth place finish at the Players was peak Decky. What have we gotten from him at all outside of that? Not a lot. I do not like the way the ball striking numbers are trending. I worry about that. So let's find somebody else. Boy, this is pretty tough. How about I want somebody who actually has upside. Okay, well, I don't. Okay, I think the answer to your question is Hideki. If you're willing to take it on, I don't think I'm willing to take it on. But outside of that, there is not a guy that I really love the upside with that is low enough owned for me to say that he has high risk, high reward. Nick Taylor catching a lot of steam here. Benny On catching a lot of steam. That's interesting. Ben Martin catching steam. Yeah, this is actually a tough answer today. Maybe Akshay. 5%, and he's an electric factory, but I think the only person who fits that is Hideki. Do I see any other surprises with this ownership? I'm surprised at how popular Taylor Montgomery is. I'm surprised at how popular Benny On is. I'm surprised at how unpopular Adam Schenk is at 9%. You know, he's coming off a runner-up finish. Just kind of looking through this and seeing, like, wishing that Hayden Buckley was going to have a good week because he's 3% owned. No question, just an appreciation comment for all the updates to the site and the custom model. Thanks for continually improving the product. Excited to put it to work and all the future holds for Rick Run Good. Oh, I appreciate that, Ryan. That's awesome. Yeah, so here's the custom model. A couple of big updates. We're now tracking the ownership here. I guess I should show you. We're tracking the ownership here, so you can see, like, for example, since the last run, Alex Noren is up 2 percentage points. Matt Kuchar's up 3 percentage points. Akshay's down 1 percentage point. I'll flip this around and look at it in this way by salary, so you can see those trends. Additionally, we've got multiple slates in here. If you're a sicko and you want to build lineups for the Astara Chili Classic, that's available to you. You want to build lineups for Live Golf, that's available to you. You want to build lineups for the Masters right now, even though we don't have salaries yet, available to you. Valero Texas Open round 1, that's all in there. Also added a bunch more stats, and now you can also export your models and then import them back in after you tinker with them. So a lot of big updates. Appreciate the support there. Now I will do the weather thing. So if anybody has questions about weather, go back to the 9-minute mark of the live chat. So this is actually, I found this weather station, the San Antonio station on Weather Underground. It is essentially on the golf course. So when you go and just type in San Antonio, it'll default you like downtown, and you should go find a weather station that is closer to the golf course. This one is like literally, can I show you? Yeah, it's right here. It's like literally on the golf course. Okay. That's TPC San Antonio. Look at that. It's like in this neighborhood. So, here's what we've got going on. So Thursday, scattered thunderstorms, pretty decent chance of precipitation all day long, with the wind really kicking up from about 5 miles an hour to 13 miles an hour in the afternoon-ish. And then Friday morning, it looks like it's windy in the morning and then will calm down a little bit. That's closer to the evening, though. So a couple ways this could go. It might not matter. We might get this wrong. The weather predictors might be wrong, whatever. But I think if you really did want to lean towards a direction, you probably want AM, PM, which would be Thursday morning, Friday afternoon would likely be the better side. Maybe I'll take a little bit of action on it. Also, I will note this. All the waves are loaded in to the custom model. So if you wanted to, and you can see them here. So if you want to target the AM PM guys, which is honestly none of the top guys, Davis Riley is the first AM PM guy. He's $9,500. If you want to put in, 4 guys from AM PM, you could do that. But a lot of the stars are playing PM AM this week. I'm front running my one and done. Who would you use, Ricky or Siwoo? Either are fine. I would probably take Siwoo, because I'm a sicko. Hey, Rick, the stats keep pointing me to Kuchar for one and done this week, but I kind of hate it. I'm in the money in the run and done, but not at the top. What do you think? Yeah, so I think if you're playing not making up a ton of ground, but like if you're looking to not be on Ricky or Siwoo, who are going to be two of the more popular options, I think Chris Kirk is interesting. I think that Matt Kuchar is interesting. Kuchar's getting more volatile, which is good. I like this. And his history around Valero's like dirty. Let's pull up his history around this place. Yeah. I mean, it's just top 15 after top 15 after top 15. Runner-up finisher last year. His last three are T2, T12, T7. Let me see if I can pull up the projected ownership real quick. So this is from officefootballpool.com. If you're in a league there, you can see the site-wide picks. You cannot see it for individual pools in advance, but you can see it site-wide. So here we go. Ricky, by far the most popular, 28%, Siwoo 14, Corey 11, and then Hatton at 9.5. So if you're in that like next tier, you want to make up a little bit of ground. Hatton, Kirk, Kuchar, I think are really interesting. Hideki is probably too risky for me. I would also not mind Nikolai Højgaard, 0.5%. I wouldn't mind Thomas Dietrich, 0.5%. That's probably the list for me. Can we do a deep dive on Benny On? Yeah, I actually think we need to do a deep dive on Benny On and figure out why he is as popular as he is this week. So he finished T7 here in 2019, missed the cut here last year. Let's look at his more recent metrics. It's fine. I mean, it's good. I shouldn't say that. It's good, right? His one missed cut or whatever was a W at API. Other than that, he's got a couple of top 25 finishes. He played well at the Sony. He played well at the Players Championship. He played well at the Honda. This is okay. Decent ball striker. The putting's been better, which has kind of always been Benny's issue. Okay, this is better than I expected. I don't think I'm in love with it, but I was expecting a lot worse. Rick the GOAT. Oh, thank you. Just here to ask my weekly Kevin Roy question. How many is he going to win by? Oh, boy. Not. He is not going to win by anything. Here's his stat profile. T50 in Punta Cana. Missed the cut at the Valspar. He's missed 5 of his last 8. It's actually not a bad profile, which is kind of crazy. He hits the cover off the ball. The short game's horrible. I do also worry that, TPC San Antonio, it asks you to be pretty proficient around the greens, and he is not. So that is concerning to me. Hey, Rick, Dylan Wu, late add to the field. That's right. Has made the last 6 cuts he's played in. Weighted tee to green is stellar over the last 24. 7K seems like a total misprice. Agreed. Yeah, so once I saw that Dylan Wu was a late ad, so he got in late with Hank Biota. They got in late on Monday? Tuesday? They got in late. And I was like, okay, no matter what the price is on Dylan Wu, I'm going to get him in my lineup because he is not going to have nearly the ownership of if everybody saw him in the field on Monday and heard all the content and whatnot. I've been playing a lot of Dylan Wu. It's been working out great. T16 in Punta Cana, T10 at the Honda. He hasn't missed the cut since the Farmers. It's really solid play. It's doing it in the right categories, and he gets this weird little late add to the field. Who do you think seems to be the most fairly overlooked player going into the Masters? Is it Finau? Let's look at the Masters field. Just by raw strokes game total. The answer is probably, it could be Finau. So this is last, I got it on the last 100. Let's do last 36, I suppose. Whoops, not 10,036. That would be a little bit different. These are raw, so bear with me. Like Abe Answer ranking very highly is all of his live stuff, so I wouldn't be too crazy about that. Probably Patrick Cantlay, right? Patrick Cantlay doesn't get a lot of noise in general, and his major championship history is not particularly great, but has been in the mix of the Masters before. He's playing awesome right now. Everything you would want. I mean, look at these ball strikes. Look at these tee to green numbers. This dude's a freak. Get after it. Good afternoon, Mr. Run Good. Hello, Oliver. Is there a guy like JJ Spawn last year who is flying under the radar who you think has a real shot of punching his ticket to the Masters? Yeah, let's look through the field. So the only way for most of these guys is to win, most of them. A few can get in otherwise. Sam Ryder, I think, is pretty interesting. Has played much better golf, showed us a little bit of upside, has a skill set that is very volatile in a good way. Also, Garrick Higo. Remember when Higo snapped off Palmetto the week before and then went to the U.S. Open and missed the cut? I could see that again. He's playing like the best golf he's played since then. Those, I think, would be the two logical guys. I'm pretty enamored with Kazuki Higa as well, just from like a golf is a global game type of Kazuki. Where is he? Just from that kind of angle, 81st ranked player in the world who's got 3 straight top 15s, 2 wins since September, Japanese tour, Asian tour, European tour, all that fun stuff. Pretty enamored with Kazuki. Is it Sam Stevens time? No, is it? Is it Sam Stevens time? T3 in Punta Cana, I wish we knew how he did it. T15 at Puerto Rico, wish we knew how he did it. T13 at the Farmers, relying on the putter. Ooh. I'm going to say no, but if you want to play Sam Stevens, I wouldn't beat you up for that. But I need a little bit of a more clear picture here. What is Ricky's course history at the Valero? That's an easy one. Here's Ricky at Valero. Miscut, T17, T17. Shout out my boy Hunter Link, who just had his birthday. Happy birthday, Hunter. What's your go-to birthday meal? Okay, the only thing that is like exclusively on my birthday, because I eat the same thing every single day, or frequently, right? The only thing that is exclusively on my birthday is a cookie cake. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like a cookie in a pan or whatever. You can get it like Mrs. Fields or like any grocery store. A little bit of icing on there, cookie cake, chocolate chip. That's like an exclusively my birthday thing. I don't want real cake. I want cookie cake. So good. Hatton had something going on with his hand last week, which makes me think about totally fading him this week. Have you heard anything about the hand? No, but the way that I look at that, he was shaking out the hand on Wednesday. He played 3 matches. He didn't play all that poorly, and I haven't heard anything about it since. He's doing his presser probably right now. I'm hoping that someone had someone had asked him about it. I don't know if that has happened. That was my hope. What do you think about the changes to 13 at Augusta? Bubba said he hit 3-iron in the other day and might have to lay up when the pin is up front. That's sick. Cool. I love that. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's only going to be so much they can do. Moving it back, I think, accomplishes a couple things. One, that where Bubba says he has to hit 3-iron and might have to lay up. And 2, the low-key part of this is that is the most secluded part of the golf course. So when they go off at 12 and they go back onto 13, and on Sunday when that guy's in the lead, like, you're alone with your thoughts. And now you're even more secluded. I love that. I just love that. Are the live losers being underestimated in the betting market? I thought they were being overestimated. Cam Smith was like 20-1. DJ was there as well. I think it's pretty like, what are you going to do with, like, they're going to play 9 rounds leading up to the Masters. That does not seem to be a sound strategy. So Cam Smith has gone T5 and 24th and a missed cut this year. He's played 3 professional events this year. Are these good results? I think not, right? Like, what's Dustin done? Dustin's gone, well, this year. So he won in Miami, then T35 and 13th in Mayakoba and Tucson. Gained 3 strokes on that field in Tucson. I think the lack of playing is like a real thing. Can you run a matchup between Lingmerth and Ben Martin? Wow. Yeah, we're at that point of the show, seemingly. Let's do it. So head-to-head matchup tool, RickRunGood.com. You can plug in any 2 golfers for any number of rounds, and you can see what the likelihood of one beating the other in a 4-round matchup is. Lingmerth versus Ben Martin. Ben Martin's been low-key very good. So the winner is Ben Martin, 65% to David Lingmerth. He should be about minus 191. Ben Martin's been very, very good. At what point do you fade a golfer you like based on projected ownership? So I would never let just that determine it. But let's assume that I would. I think when you start getting to like 23 23% ownership, there is a pretty strong case to be made that you could just blanket fade every guy who is 23 or more percent owned and probably get away with it. I think that's a pretty blanket statement. Now, if you were dying to play Siwoo Kim this week or Terrell Hatton, do it. Just do something different along the way. But 23% is probably the answer. The one and done I am in has a trimester payout. The first trimester ends at Valero. I'm in second barely. Can't risk Ricky or Siwoo. Kirk is too cute. Any other idea? Any other can't use Hatton. Kuchar. A review was done several years ago of PGA results, and I think the chalk hits more than in any other sport. What? If I'm understanding that correctly, I'd be super surprised because I've run this before. If the popular plays are always the good plays, how do you find the best? I would love to see this. I would love to see a scenario in which chalk PGA does better than anything else in chalk, like basketball, football, hockey, sure. Baseball, sure. Those are random sports. Golf is very random. I have the honor of bringing up the rear in one and done. Suggestions on a contrarian play to make up ground. Cameron Davis. After a live guy is wearing the green jacket, Rory will lose his mind and his game, advocating 24/7 that the PGA Tour is superior. Clown emoji. I doubt that. What do you think the best pivots are in each range? Obviously, Hideki at the top. The rest of the 9K range is pretty tight. I mean, why not go back to JJ, right? So he was 3-0 out of his group last week. He won this event last year. He obviously has the skill set of like keeping it in play, all that fun stuff. And he's going to be half the ownership of Siwoo Kim. I think I like that more than like an 8% Alex Noren, quite honestly. Then if you go to like, I'd go back to Adam Schenk at 8,200. Adam Schenk finished 7th here a couple of years ago. He's coming off a runner-up finish and he played well before that. Are we just going to forget the Valspar or are we just going to say that he should have won it? Like 9% Adam Schenk is you should play that. Man, I really want to click Hayden Buckley's name at 3.7. So the pivot off of Nick Taylor for me is probably Robbie Shelton at 5%, a third of the ownership. The pivot off of Benny Hahn, which I can't believe I'm even saying, is probably Eric Cole or Garrick Higo. The pivot off of Ben Martin is probably Austin Eckroat. The pivot off of, is that everybody? Is that everybody's going to be popular? Yeah, basically. Okay. Love the new models. Inputs. Thank you. For short, medium, long courses, are there specific ranges? Yeah, but they're based on like tour averages, right? So it's not necessarily like, hey, I cut it up at 7,200. It's like, hey, the bottom 33% of courses is I'd have to look up the exact cutoff. But yes, there are ranges. I need to do like a glossary and I need to do like all that stuff. And I need to just post it on the website and I'll include that. Boss man, how's the card looking? Yeah, let's do this. So this is my betting card, which you should not bet. Do what you think is right. Make your own decisions. Everybody's different. I bet Siwoo at 21-1. Not really a great number. Nick Taylor at 50. Nikolai Højgaard at 60. Garrick Higo at 105. Kazuki Higa at 175. So those were the 5 I put in on Monday. I also then, when Dylan Wu was added to the field, I did bet him. It was like 115-1. So I bet 6 golfers. 3 of them are in triple digits. The shortest is 21 and then the gap to 50. So I'm pretty comfortable with that field or with that card. Thoughts on Eckroat versus Grillo this week and going forward long term? All right, let's look at Eckroat first. So he pops off. This is a pretty tough profile. So he pops off for a T12 at Sony, then misses 6 consecutive cuts and finishes 5th at Punta Cana. That's going to be pretty hard to predict. What about Emiliano? Remember, he started putting well, and then he kind of started giving it back. Let's see if that's still the case. Yep. Wow. Not great, Bob. I don't like either of these guys going forward. I suppose you could argue that They're both missing a lot of cuts, and at least when Ekro plays well, he can finish inside the top 10. When Grillo plays well, which we haven't seen this season, I'm not really sure what his upside is. So probably out on that. As much as you like Siwoo this week, can you play him as the highest owned player on the slate? I will probably. I have Siwoo exposure in the betting market. I'm going to have one and done exposure to him in ones that I'm closer to the top of the board. I will probably. I'm a little behind. I've not put my lineups in yet. I do not imagine I will have much Siwoo in like daily fantasy. Hey, Rick, thoughts on Brendan Todd? Good course history, keeps it in play off the tee, decent right now. Yeah, so those are obviously the keys. Keep it in play, give yourself a chance, have a pretty adequate, robust short game, roll the rock, do all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good, right? T2 at Pebble, pretty well-rounded. You see a lot of like pale green on this sheet, which is fine. He doesn't have a whole ton of holes in his game. We know how accurately he drives. If you want to see the Valero stuff, I can show you that. T8 last year, but then he didn't play it for a while. So you're right that it is good course history, but he's only played it once since 2016. So I don't want to give him credit for all of that. But yes, I think this is a positive play. Can you do a deep dive on Hardy and Cootie? I'm assuming that's Nick Hardy. Yeah, this is very similar to what we just saw from Austin Eckroat, right? 5 straight missed cuts and then a T13, which look at, I mean, he would absolutely just has to out hit the putter. The putter's so bad. I do not even love that. And then Cootie, I think it's been a little bit better. Let's see the metrics here. 2 missed cuts. Oh, that was ugly. He played the club card. Oh my goodness. So this is kind of wonky, right? I mean, he plays well on the PGA Tour, T14 at the Arnold Palmer, then he misses a cut badly, loses 10 strokes to the field on a Corn Ferry Tour event. Yikes, probably out on both of those guys. Answered a couple of these. Weather is back at the beginning of the show. You should go there. Talked about Brendan Todd. Talked about Ben Martin. That's fine. Rick Run Goats. What do you think is the best way to run a single entry lineup? Would you fade the 10K range? Yeah, probably. I would probably go with stockpiling some guys in the 9K or starting with Hideki. I think it's going to be really difficult to play anybody else in the 10K range in a single entry, which is probably going to be more polarizing than some of the ownerships that we're seeing right now. And I would probably, load up on these. Like, could you go, I don't want to give out a lineup, but yeah, I would avoid the 10K range. I'll just stop there. I was about to just hand out a lineup. I'm in the top 10% of a large field, one and done. Would you play a chalky Siwoo or risk Hideki? Probably a chalky Siwoo. Is Deki a must core play? Oh, a core cascade play? Yeah, probably. Which AM wave player is winning you a GPP this week? Okay, that's not a bad question. I would say let's do this. So let me sort this by. So what is it? Which AM player? Which AM wave player? I think the answer to that is probably Matt Wallace, right? I mean, first off, a lot of the guys at the top are PM AM guys. Wallace is lower owned than Dietrich, lower owned than Højgaard, lower owned than Brendan Todd. Matt Wallace's last 2 starts are a win and a T7. So the answer just might be Matt Wallace. I heard it might be rainy. Someone should compile stats to see who the best win player in the world is. I wonder if anyone has ever thought of that. No one has ever thought of that in the absolute history of the world. What's the largest animal you could throw over a crossbar? A crossbar being what is a crossbar? Like a hockey net? Let's just assume the answer is a hockey net. The largest animal I could throw over a crossbar, like a baby bear, like a baby brown bear. Are the brown ones the bad ones? If it's brown, lie down. If it's black, run at it and attack. That might get me killed. If it's white, good night. Like a little baby brown bear. What about like a flamingo or something that's got wings and is light? Not like a crocodile. I'm trying to think. Could I lift a giraffe? Like a medium-sized giraffe? I would just have to balance it. I don't know. I have no explanation for why I'm here. Welcome to the club. But can you talk me off? Thought I heard Oliver coming in. I think he is still coming in. Can you talk me off the Ricky Barnes cliff? Well, let's look at old Rick together here. Here's Ricky. Yikes. So there's Oliver. Hello, Oliver. 7th place finish in Punta Cana. Not much else I like. Look at these ball striking numbers. -3, -4, -4, -5, -6, -6. Entirely dependent on the short game with very little upside. I don't know how you got there, but you should probably leave. Why does Corey Connors have fans? He's a nice guy, nice Canadian who ball strikes it. But I do generally think, and this is going to suck when he wins this golf tournament, but I generally think that he has been the most overused golfer and overbet golfer since he came on to the PGA Tour, right? Because he's always going to pop in models. It's always like 1 week away, and he's got a couple of places where he putts well, right? So like when we go to the Masters next week, everybody's going to be in on Corey Connors because he putts unbelievable at the Masters. And he's like never returned you an outright because you didn't bet him when he Monday qualified into this thing in 2019. You didn't. He probably wasn't even available. You didn't even know who he was. So he has like never made anyone any money. Yet he is always a topic of conversation. So I love him. I would love to be Corey Connors, right? I'd love to have that game. He's going to have an unbelievable career. But he is like the most overused golfer in our community. This week is going to come down to the weather splits. We got to get that correct first. Agreed. Favorite hole at Augusta National? 2. There's so many. 2. I like the dog leg. I like the par 5 dog leg. Drive it down there, get in the right spot, go for it. I love the Sunday pin. 4 is great. Obviously, I mean, 12 and 13 are phenomenal. 16 sick. 18 up the chute. They're all good. I mean, what I don't know. I would say 2. 2. What? Oh, okay. So this is pretty good, Randy. What live guys would you consider to use for one and done for the Masters? Yeah. So I was like really hoping to be a smart guy and use the live guys for the majors, right? Because the elevated events are now going to likely, we don't know the Masters purse yet. They'll announce it on like Friday of Masters week. To be able to use those guys in majors, I was excited for that. I don't feel any level of confidence for that. The only 2 that I guess there's 3 I would consider using. Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, and Joaquin Niemann are probably the only 3 I would consider using for the Masters one and done. I've answered these. Oh, I'll answer this one. Eric Cole. Remember him? Remember that little run he went on? Here we go. This is for you, Ray. So, runner-up at Honda, missed the cut at API, T27 at the Players, ball striking, good. Missed cut at Valspar. The T degree numbers are strong, though. He's a pretty solid player, right? And we've got a pretty decent set of results on him right now. Has he played Valero? No. This is decent, like 6 out of 10, something like that, right? You're getting a good ball striker who we know can get hot and compete against a lot of these guys, especially in a field like this. I got no problem if you want to go to Eric Cole. Rick, love the show. How much are you weighing course history this week? Who's your favorite golfer that has no course history? I'm giving course history like a 5.5 out of 10. Nothing crazy. My favorite golfer who has no course history, has Dylan Wu played here before? My default answer is just Dylan Wu for everything. He has played here before. Absolutely none. I would say, I'm just kind of looking through to see who has actually none. Højgaard. Because basically you have to remember, like, a lot of the places, he's like 21 years old. A lot of the places he plays all over the world, he's never played before. This is like when Victor and Morikawa went nuts in their first year. It was even more impressive because they've never played any of these golf courses. It's like, holy crap. Give them like 5 years when they figure this stuff out. So, Højgaard. I feel like your content should be getting more views than it is. Love the work, Rick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think so. It's a pretty like super small niche, right? You've got like sports fans, golf fans, people who play fantasy or bet on it, those that want to do it with data. I mean, it's like a pretty small niche, but I appreciate the support. I don't particularly care about that as much. Rick, I've always wondered what's your educational background. How did you first get into golf data analysis? My background's in marketing automation, which is in data, big data. My education is in marketing and business management. But I worked a lot in large databases, which is really how I learned how to maintain a database, what you could do with it, the value of it, all that fun stuff. And then said, well, I can build databases for golf. Why don't I do that? Who is most likely to have a bad first round and mail it in to get to Augusta sooner? The answer is almost exclusively Hideki Matsuyama. One and done Siwoo versus Ricky. Depends on your position. I'm going to say Siwoo. If you don't play Akshay, are you a racist? No, I don't think so. You probably, I mean, I guess technically you could be. I don't know. But you might just not like risk. Can Chad Ramey come back and crush here? Actually, let's talk about Chad Ramey because he withdrew. I thought he was playing well, and then he withdrew. Let me see if that was actually the case. He was in Punta Cana. Yeah, he did. He was gaining 1.9 strokes to the field and withdrew. I think he was sick. So now we've got 3 straight starts where he goes T27, T27, and a WD at Punta Cana, which he was probably on pace for basically gaining the same number of strokes. So I actually think this is a pretty low key, like no one's going to play Chad Ramey. No one's interested in Chad Ramey. Three straight events in which he's gained multiple strokes to the field. I do not mind that. I think it was an illness. I don't have it in front of me. I know you were at the U.S. Open last summer, but have you played any noteworthy courses up in New England? So I didn't while we were there. I didn't take my clubs. That was strictly business. I'm trying to think. I've not gotten to the Northeast as much as I should for golf. Out on Neesmith. So I'll show you the stat profile on Neesmith. It was going so well until the end of the year, right? And then that break comes and it's just like he never got it back. I hate when that happens. It's the opposite of Eric Van Rooyen. It's the opposite of like some of these guys who took 5 weeks off and came back and have played much differently, but have played better. This is just, he's played much differently and he's played worse. I hate that. So annoying. Ben Martin, Tyler Duncan, and Akshay in cash, pick 2. I do not think you can pick Akshay in a cash game. The dude might shoot 66, 76. He might shoot 62. Like, I do not think you could play Akshay in there. Hey, Rick, on the custom model, it shows Ryan Fox is number 2 in weighted strokes gained total last 36, but in the power rankings, he's number 27. Why is that? Sorry if I'm missing something. Probably, I mean, this could be a lot of things I don't want to get into right now. It could be user error. Could be, so long story short, the way the PGA Tour sends data over is they send it in 2 different ways. It is either a round or it is either a measured round. And sometimes when you are putting that into the power rankings, for example, it's counting every single round. When you are, sorry, I dropped my ring. And when you were putting that into the custom model, it's only counting the measured rounds. It's really, it shows you how early we are in this, where there's like so much data that the PGA Tour has to figure out along the way. That's how early we are. Which player is the best course history in the field, in your opinion? I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm just going to show you the Valero. Everybody in this field, dating back for the last 7 or 8 years, sort by strokes gained total. And I will find guys that have played at least 10 rounds. Lucas Glover, 12 rounds. Corey Connors, 16, 1.96. Charlie Hoffman, believe it or not. Kevin Chappell's been phenomenal. Kevin Chappell has 18 rounds here, 1.86. Then the guys who have, so Charlie Hoffman's 22 rounds. The other good guys that have more than 20 rounds, Streelman, Kirk, Laird, Siwoo, Kuchar, Ryan Palmer. So not really my opinion, but there you go. Do you ever go back through the course fit rankings and compare to actual results? How close do they mirror tournament outcomes? Yeah, but I don't do it every week. I like lump sum like a couple times a year. So I need to automate that process. It's usually pretty good. I mean, listen, I don't know what good is, right? You know, I can come up with I can give you an R squared, I can give you a correlation, but if I said it was 0.93, would you be impressed? If I said it was 0.54, would you be impressed? Like, I think it's objectively good, but it's going to be hard to compare against anything else that's in the industry. Rick, if you were only going to pick 4 statistics that define this course, not including the 4 major strokes gain categories, what would you choose? I would choose distance from edge of fairway. I would choose strokes gained approach. Oh, sorry, not of the majors. I would choose distance from edge of fairway. I would choose greens in regulation, proximity. Like I'm cheating here. I would choose scrambling and some putting stat. I was kind of cheating there, trying to get around the strokes gain situation. Appreciate everything you do for Golf DFS, and I've been a member for a few years. Thank you. You ever think about a model for FanDuel? I live in Oregon and I can't play DraftKings since DraftKings took over a sports betting app for Oregon. Yeah, I used to have FanDuel stuff, but like no one used it. And it's a lot harder to get their information. And yeah, I mean, something that's always in the back of my head. I don't think it's like anywhere super in the near future. This just says weather. When running a custom model, do you ever generate lineups and put them right into DraftKings, or do you create your own lineups? No, me creating my own lineups is me running them in the custom model and then downloading them and then putting them into DraftKings. That is me making my own lineups. No, I'll do a single entry lineup like from my brain, but imagine me, right? Like I love this more than anything. So obviously I'm just going to run a bunch of lineups and see what happens and just download these and put them in. Oh, that's a pretty fun one. That's a really fun one, actually. Okay. Luckily, I have answered a lot of these, which is good. Does Fowler's distance from edge of fairway scare you at all? Yes, but remember that that's a season-long statistic, and he's been playing much better as of late, so I would give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but you're right. No, he can spray it off the tee. Saved my one-and-done season with Sam Burns last week. Is Corey Connors worth a look? Saw you're a fade, but still feel he has a lot of value. The only place I'd play Corey Connors is in a one-and-done scenario. I don't want to really get access to him in the outright market or really anywhere else in the fantasy market. So yeah, one-and-done would be fine. Robbie says, I live in San Antonio. Weather is going to shift from cold to hot. Wind should be a factor that day. Humid, cool start. Hot, humid finish. Giddy up. Talked about that. Talked about this. One and done. Currently front running. Have to pick 2 every week. Siwoo, Fowler, Cooch, or Captain Kirk. I have to pick 2 of those. And you're front running? Siwoo and Fowler. Is Hatton worth the risk of a WD in one and done? I think he's worth the risk. If you had to pick a live golfer for the 4 majors in one and done, who would be the choice for each? All right. I'm going off the top of my head here. DJ, Masters, Neiman at LACC for the US Open, Cam Smith for the Open Championship, and the PGA Championship. I would take, there's probably somebody I'm missing. Could I play Brooks or Bryce in there? Answer is a live guy. I'm trying to think who else is a live guy. I would probably go Answer. I don't like it. Who do you prefer in one and done, Fox or Dietrich? I prefer Dietrich. New to the program, is there a way to use the tool to change projections, then upload the projections? Yes. So save your model, name it, save it, go into the open model button, hover over it, download it. Now it downloads as a CSV. Can you see that in the bottom left-hand corner? And then you can make any changes that you want and import your model back in. Favorite 7K player who is not Dylan Wu? How dare you? I would say I don't mind Eric Van Rooyen. I do not mind Garrick Higo. I think objectively Ben Martin has been the best. Have I shown Ben Martin yet? Also, I have a hard out, by the way, at 4 Eastern. A hard out. Doesn't that make me sound important? Like I've got a meeting to go to. But I actually do. So Ben Martin's been phenomenal. T13, T5, T54, T45, T8. Ben Martin's been fantastic. Are you going to use anyone in the 6K range? Yeah. So the best options in the 6K range for me are Kazuki Higa. He is $6,900. Sorry. I don't know where my water is. I do not mind Augusto Nunez, who is $6,700. And I do not mind, there was somebody at 64. I do not mind Brent Grant. And that is probably the best of it. Hey, Rick, you mentioned some guys that can get into the Masters without winning. Can you share who they are and where they need to finish? I do not have it in front of me. I would have to go pull it up, but I believe there's a handful of guys who can reasonably do it without a win. I think it's those guys who are like 51 to 65 in the OWGR. I'd have to go look at what they actually need. Pazuki, that's right. I'm happy I've answered this. Okay, I've answered a lot of these, which is good because I'm way behind. Can you go over Davis Riley winning here on the Corn Ferry Tour? Well, let's just look up his profile. I'm actually not as warm on Davis Riley this week as I think some others are. I worry that he's going to hemorrhage some strokes around the green, but I think you are referring to... It was during COVID, right? It was this one. July 2020. They played a couple of weeks in a row, I think, at TPC San Antonio. So, I mean, that was coming up on 3 years ago. So, yes, it is true he has won here. I do not know if that is actionable data or not. Hatton canceled his presser. Oh, boy. No, I'm not making any changes. After a tournament concludes, do you ever reevaluate your picks? Example, someone outperformed. So I would argue to say they are picks. I definitely do take all the data and run it back through and see where the holes were. Sometimes I put it in my newsletter, which is available at rickrungood.com/newsletter. This is this week. Sometimes I'll put it in there like, should we have seen this coming, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. But a lot of cool stuff in there this week. Also, shout out to the guys at Jock Market. They're not only doing stock market DFS, but they've got props now. And I'm under the impression that golf props are coming as soon as like Friday. And also they're doing this thing where if you get 5 straight 2-pick entries right, they give you $1,000. Or the first person to do it. It's like a streak. So pretty cool. I have a promo code. It's Rick. They're doing a great job. Get your $100 deposit bonus. Go sign up. The golf props are like imminent. So you'll want to be able to take care of those. Love those guys. Okay. This is good. Hair is on point this week. Thank you. I just got a haircut like an hour ago. Oh, this is a good one too. So I'm going to give Ryan Gerard one more chance here. I don't know what he is, but I think we're going to find out. What version of who is Ryan Gerard? Is he this 3 missed cuts in a row on the Corn Ferry Tour guy? Is he this guy who just lost 10 strokes at Valspar and Punta Cana? Or is he this guy who had the 4th place finish at Honda, the T11 at Puerto Rico, Monday qualified into Honda? Like, is he that guy or is he the other one? And if he's the middle guy, if he's the good one, the price is way too cheap. And in a field like this with a 6K range that's pretty anemic, I do not mind the risk on Ryan Gerard. I'm glad you brought it up. Who brought that up? Matt. That is, I'm vaguely interested in that. Vaguely interested in all that. Can we do okay, so let's do the Shelton deep dive. That's this one from Trevor. 2 straight missed cuts. Man, the putter's been pretty sour. The around the green game's been good, which is what I like to see. Pops a little bit with the approach play. I have a lot of exposure to Robbie Shelton in season long fantasy. These are not as good of metrics as I would like to see, but I think he's solid enough. He needs to putt a lot better than that. Can we get a Sepp Straka deep dive? Oh yeah, that portion of the show. Sepp. Oof. They're match play numbers, but he lost 7 strokes putting at the match play. Made the cut to players, missed the cut the API, played well at the only place he ever plays well. I don't like this. I don't love it when the whole stat profile is pretty bad, and then like the best finish is the place that he defended at, which is like, yeah, of course he's going to set up well for that. I do not. I think that's a little bit of fool's gold. Has he played Valero before? He has. T67 and a miscut, probably out on that. Greg says Tesori on Team Rick Run Good. That's right. Such a beautiful thing. Best in the biz. Thanks. Yeah, no, appreciate it. Always happy to help out and appreciate you. Cam Davis. Yeah. So here's my take on Cam Davis. How lenient do you want to be? He told us he was sick. Told us he was sick for a while. How many of these 5 missed cuts do we want to attribute to that? If the answer is all of them, he's been awesome. If the answer is half of them, he's been okay. If the answer is none of them, I need to see one more week. Okay? That's kind of how I look at this. 5 straight missed cuts is not great. He was playing really well before that, and he played well after that. He told us he was sick, and it lasted for a long time. If determine how many of those you're willing to give him to write off. And then from there, you can make your decision. But I'm willing to forgive a lot of those. So I am probably higher on him than most. Any insight on when Masters pricing is going to be released? Probably Thursday or Friday of this week, I would imagine. Yes. This says, I got you, buddy. It says, I'm being lazy today. Can you deep dive Cole Hammer? Last sponsors exemption, needs 46 points for special temporary membership. Thought T16, Texas boy. Yes, he is. We have unfortunately, he was like the first round leader at RSM. I remember that. I was down there for that. But this is a little bit concerning. The ball striking stuff's pretty concerning. He's lost off the tee basically every single measured start that he has had except for one. That is concerning. The approach play is not all that much better. The around the green play is below average, and the putter has gotten hot at times. This is not giving me too much confidence here, quite honestly. The only thing he's got going for him is the Texas connection. Has he played here before? No. Played in Houston, T27. I'm just trying to see where else he might have played that we could find something. Byron Nelson, he missed the cut. That was a couple years ago, though, so I won't hold that against him. That's a tough profile. I'll be honest with you. That's a tough profile. Not really a question. Just wanted to point out the leverage lineup you made last week made the money for me. Of course it did. It's all about leverage, baby. Let's go. Do you have any tools? I got to get out of here in a couple minutes. Do you have any tools to check correlation between variables in the custom model? Who's winning DOLA Open? No, but I'll make a tool. Let me run through a couple of these real quick. I'm almost there. Rick, do you get your stroke gain from a single source, or are you calculating all of this somehow? I have a deal with the PGA Tour. I get my data straight from the tour. Ricky had a top 5 finish in every major that summer. Who do you think is the best chance of doing that this summer? Scotty. But I would not bet it because you're going to get horrible odds everywhere. You're better off just like doing like a running parlay of that, or like okay, bet him to finish top 5, take the winnings, move on. Don't try to find the bet that says top 5 in every major. Those are absolute dog doo-doo. Do you have a DFS contest just for your subscribers? No, because I tried to get one set up with DraftKings and they big timed me a couple years ago and I never went back because I'm petty like that. In on Ben Martin. What will be the most entertaining Live versus PGA Tour final pairing? Rory versus Bryson. Do you hedge your outrights when in position on Sunday? Usually not, only if it goes to a playoff, or I did last week with Sam Burns in that final match because the match play is different. But usually I do not hedge because there are too many potential outcomes. And you can get kind of caught up in a hedging scenario that you don't want to be in. Any interest on Dylan Wu or Hank Lebiota? Definitely Wu. Also, thanks for the March Madness contest. Won my 10-man pool, copying you exactly. Okay, I actually do have a meeting I have to get to, which is like something I never say, but I hope you guys appreciate that. I'll go to overtime. I'm sure the live chat next week's gonna be like 7 hours long. So apologies, but I got to get out of here. Also, I don't have Mina here, so I'm gonna have to shut this show down myself. Big thanks to everybody. Go sign up for RickRunGood.com. Get in now. Use it for the Masters as well. The custom model is insane. Love it. Love you guys. Take care and goodbye.